Yep, and we are live. We are live. Welcome to week 3, or I should say race 3. Let's get going with, I guess, Formula 3. We have a few new drivers, I think, right?
Yeah, we are going to have, I think, 3 drivers in total. Lady driver is going to continue from last week, and then we have Mueller, who just joined.
Yep.
And then Pablo, who is on Hendrick Motorsports.
That's right. And what's the weather like? Today we're racing in Spain, so it's gonna be probably a fairly warm race.
Yeah, so we're going to be dry in Formula 3 and 2. And then I believe we are at 25% rain for F1.
Okay, so how does that work for this sim?
So essentially, if it's 50% and over, then we would switch with the inclement weather attribute, which would adjust the driver's ratings. Now, because it's under at 25%, the ratings are going to stay the same, but the driver's obviously on track, which is going to be controlled by the AI, is going to have 2 more tire choices in regards to the inters and the wets as the weather progresses back and forth. This we haven't seen, so this is going to be the first time that we see essentially that variable rain, because we've only had 100% or no rain at all. So it's going to be a little interesting today to see that.
And yeah, I mean, I don't think we need to wait any longer. We're going to hit the go on the F3 race. So just a reminder, it's going to be 15 laps, and it's going to be 1 lap qualifying, which just started. Obviously, the people that have done their updates should be near the top, so I wouldn't be surprised to see the usual suspects up front for F3.
Yeah, Mueller got a good update in, so I'm not going to be shocked at all if they sort of walk away with this one a little bit.
Also, shout out to UR2D2 there for their really good rendition of Spain. That is probably the best circuit to date in terms of how realistic it is compared to the actual circuit.
Yeah, I mean, game itself, I actually really like this track.
And yeah, so Muller, who recently signed with Mercedes in first place. We have Fernandez, Giro, driver. Actually, Fernandez is like an AI, I think. So driver is 4th, and Pablo is 8th. And I don't remember who the 4th person was.
There's actually only 3, so those will be the 3.
Okay.
Yep.
So we'll keep an eye out on those 3. 1st, 4th, and 8th. Pablo being the winner of the previous race. And we're off with F3. So let's see how things go. Hopefully we get to see some good racing by our non-AI racers. At the moment, Lady Driver in 2nd place, challenging the AI of Fernando Alonso, who is now Fernandez. Whereas Muller is the other one, right?
Correct, yeah, Muller's the other one.
So now it's basically those two in 3rd and somewhere. It's hard to tell at the moment. But yeah.
Looks like Pablo's in 7th right now.
My driver with some really good straight line speed, but clips on the grass there, so that falls back down a few spots. Does mean that Muller is now able to go and chase Fernandez. He also goes a bit out, gets overtaken by Maslov. And then, rightfully so, bumps into him to vent his frustration. But yeah, like our player drivers are in 3rd, 8th, and 9th at the moment, with Pablo going into the pits already. Lots of damage there.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting seeing, aside from this, seeing F2 and F1 go off here for, there's a batch of teams that the constructors updated pretty similar aspects to their cars. There's a couple unique outliers though, with especially Ferrari that already got the speed attribute up to 6. So it's going to be interesting to see those unfold today.
How important is going to be the speed attribute for the higher tiers, I guess, on this track? I mean, there is a long straight.
Yeah, there is a long straight, but looking at some of this, you see, you can hear a lot of the slowing down, speeding up though, on these back corners.
Yeah, I mean, Spain has always been known in Formula One in general, like the real Formula One, as just a good test track, right? Because it's got all sorts of corners, very varied. It has a straight, but overall, it's always been a very boring track to watch for most people because that's the track that they use for testing. So everyone knows the track really well.
Yeah, it's going to be. I think what's also going to be interesting is, a lot of these turns are going to lean on grip. I think a little bit more than some other tracks do. So we're going to see how that. Yeah. I know, obviously, in what I was doing with Mercedes, which I'm no longer a part of, outside of a driver, grip was pretty low, and I know McGritty came in, took that over, and increased that immediately. So we'll see if that helps that team a little bit as well.
Absolutely, and yeah, I mean, we're a third of the way through this race now, and our drivers are, where are they? Muller is in third. We have Pablo, I think, still in the top 10, and driver has fallen off down to 14th, 13th now, as pits change the order of things here and there. There's not much to say. It's not as fun when you have just a lot of AI drivers. Hopefully F3 will fill out, especially more I'm hoping fill out more in like season 2. Yeah, it'll be better for the spread of talent, not to have too many people be season 1.
Which, I mean, to be honest, F3 will still be pretty wide open this year, so people wanting to join absolutely should jump in for the fact that, you do get catch-up. You get catch-up TP to put in to your driver, which really helps. I mean, Muller coming in here right away was able to throw a bunch of TP around to increase their skills.
But are they caught up all the way to the...
Basically,
to everyone, or
catch-up is basically working where you're getting the 4 per week. So sitting in the third week, you're getting 12. Just what you're missing out on really is like the predictions, essentially.
Yeah, so it's not too bad. I mean, at one point we do need a cutoff point, though, I believe.
Yeah, so end of that's going to be week 5.
So this is week 3. You consider this?
Yep.
Okay. So the 5th race.
Correct. Yeah.
That Spain runoff area is giving us some great drifting there from almost every single driver. It's actually very interesting to watch. I'm hoping we see more of that in the upper series as well.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a huge spread, and which we'll look before each of the races coming up here. There wasn't a huge spread of, like what we saw last race in a couple 6s or I can't remember. There was a couple 5s and 2s. A lot of the drivers in both Formula 1 and 2 are in the 4 to 5 range.
Very true. Well, at the moment we have a bit of a V1 between AI. What is that? That's AlphaTauri in the lead.
Yep.
And then Muller challenging for the lead. I mean, both are on hard tires and will go to the end on those tires. I'm assuming, unless Giro has to go in for fresh tires. But no,
Yeah, I could see Gerard having to go in here. Their tires half used up already. Muller themselves knowing that the attribute there is the skill there is a little bit better on the focus tracks, should be able to take this one.
Yeah. And I mean, due to the fact that it's not AI players, I mean, it's a lot of not AI players. Just a quick reminder that F3 is not counted in the manufacturer points this season, at least.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think it's ever counted. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, that will just be Formula 1, Formula 2.
Okay. So it's really just to give people a fun time, really, and while they wait for bigger competition to show up.
Yep, exactly. So I didn't even realize we do have 2 Mullers on the course.
Do we?
Yes, that Aston Martin right in front of this Muller is also in the field.
Well, it's Aston Muller and Mercedes Muller. I'm pretty sure the Muller that we care about is the Mercedes Muller in this case.
We'll call one of them Mueller. I'm kidding.
Called Müller. I mean, Muller and Müller are neck and neck at the moment.
Yeah.
It's reminiscent of the Hood brothers in Formula 1.
Yes, that is true. Let me see what drivers made their way back up the standings in the 7th, Pablo at 10th.
And it looks like Giro's tires might have just gone because Mercedes Muller is really far ahead at this point. Yeah, we do have a lady driver in 7th place, and where is Pablo? 11th at the moment.
And we are on the last lap of the race at the moment.
That we are. You can follow Muller for the end as he puts in a massive gap on everyone. He's got about half a lap on the next person, and he's lapped at least up to Gonzalez, who is in 12th. Possibly more, depending because of all these blue names around. So a lap car will have a blue name, by the way.
Correct. Yep. Yeah, they turn blue when they are getting approached by the leader.
So yeah, Muller wins the race. Can follow, I guess, Lady Driver, who is in 7th, trying to get to Matsuda as they both Tokyo drift around the corner.
Those tires are just shot.
that was pretty ugly though. Matsuda pushed Lady Driver off the second drift. Could have had it there as well, but just clipped outside the track and lost the speed.
Cool thing there, all 3 drivers picking up some points today.
Yeah, that is good for them. So there we go. Yeah, let me take the screenshots, I guess.
Well, Zune takes screenshots. We'll just go down the finishing. Muller takes the win of their first race, which is awesome to see. Gerard in 2nd, Ryan Maslov, Fernandez, Matsuda, top 6 with driver coming in 7th, Spentifi 8th, and then Pablo, our other user, is in 9th with Giovino in 10th.
You can scroll down.
So in 11th was Gonzalez, Vertinen in 12th, DuPont in 13th, Muller in 14th, Nolan 15th, Leroy, Sanchez, and Vandermeer round out 16th through 18th, with Smith and Heineken in 20th.
There we go. Results have been posted in the race results channel on the Discord. As we'll let you prepare for round two. Round two being, well, round two, I should say, race two, which is going to be Formula 2. So, looking at the standings, Formula 2 had two drivers in the lead of the championship in Pierre Dadley and Steve, or as I like to call him, Steve Zane. Both have just one win and no points in the previous races. Well, in one of the races, I should say. Followed by Jackson Sal and Willie Miller, third and fourth. Jackson Sal, two point finishes, 15 points first race, 4 points the second race. Willie Miller, 19 points in Singapore for having the fastest lap, on top of finishing second, but no points in Italy. So the points in general, we've seen just only we've only seen 3 drivers actually finishing the points in the F2. And I think it's also going to mark one big change that we need to mention is the debut of, I think it's Nash Topalo in Formula 2, as he went down in the down to F2 to let Randall Devil, aka Zoram, stay in F1 with that driver swap when you step down from Mercedes bossing.
Yeah, so essentially the drivers that made that flip there actually were going to be hold on one second.
I'll let you make sure it's the correct ones.
Exactly.
On paper, I have Nash Topalo going from Formula 1 to Formula 2. Randall Devil stays, but switches team.
All right, so we're gonna have to get some things done here to clean that up, as I thought it was going to be an even swap of Devil going for
I mean, I might be wrong. Confirm with both teams just to make sure, but or maybe with Alpiner, I guess. But that's the way I understood the arrangement. Yeah. Yeah, like if we look at the Constructors' Championship, of course, can also use that a bit. Well, we've talked a bit about the drivers. Ferrari is in the lead for the Formula 2, followed by Hot Wheels, 4 points back. Mercedes is in 4th. Hendrick Motorsports is in 5th. Maple Street 24 points in 6th. McLaren 7th, Volkswagen IBM Racing 8th, Aston Martin 9th, Mol Adra Racing, 9th, Mol Adra Racing. My standings are off by one position. And Alpine is going to be in last place. I will not give them the satisfaction anymore. Consider it a slip of the tongue.
All right, now that is fixed, we're good to go.
Yeah, I mean, without much further ado, let's get the qualifying on the way. So 24 laps for this race and one lap quali. Let's see what happens. did see a couple of people touch the grass right before the entrance. That might affect their qualifying lap. I think it was Silent Bergen in the back that did.
Yeah, you can just see the lines here. They just run them so much cleaner.
Oh, definitely. Much better than in Singapore, at least. We do see Popcat using a lot of track there, but keeping it within bounds. Big gap. Although Canders is also doing pretty well as they cross the line, and yeah, Popcat takes the pole position, followed by Canders, Albano, Ray, Dadley, Wong, Bingo, Andrews, Topalo, and Utah. Steve is in 11th place, Vander Bison 12th, Dakari 13th, Gordon Jr. 14th, Venegas 15th, Maldonado 16th, Sile 17th, Miller 18th, Toth 19th, and Bergen rounds out the whole standings in last place. And I guess we're off right away. So Popcat from Canders, Popcat defending the inside, but it looks like Albano goes on the outside, and now Canders takes it, holding the inside. So Canders for Aston Martin ahead of Popcat, ahead of Albano. There's a bit of a fight behind them as Bingo is now fighting with Dadley for 4th at the moment. Steve moving up right behind Bingo, and Wong now in 9th place. Topalo Topalo and Wong fighting for 10th place at the moment. 10th place. Yeah, Canders taking a big gap early on, using those soft tires as much as possible, because Popcat is running mediums, so we'll go longer. Bingo, Albano, Utah also running softs in 3rd, 4th, and 5th. But so far, fighting amongst themselves, so are not as close to Popcat as they could be. And now the chase groups led by Steve, Ray, and Vander Bison now for the yellow team. I think that's Hot Wheels.
Yes. Yep.
They're getting in the mix as well. We've got a nice group from Steve to is that Miller, 6th to 13th, who are very close to one another. Could cause some contacts here and there. Let's hope not for the drivers, though. But up in the lead, Canders has put a 2.5 second gap on Popcat already. Popcat also holding 2nd place really well as Albano tries to close the gap a bit more. But might have to wait a lap or two before closing that gap.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see here. Popcat will stay out probably a lap or two longer. With Canders, Canders and Albano probably going in. Albano stays out.
That's a bit of an early pit stop by Canders, in my opinion. Could have probably gone another lap, but it really depends on how fast those tires went off.
Yep.
But that does put Popcat in the lead, followed by Albano and Bingo now. All three of them have a bit of a breakaway, and they're slightly apart from one another. As certain cars go into the pits, and seen Canders, but Maldonado, Utah, Dadley, and Andrews also went into the pits. We do see now the next set of soft tire runners going into the pits. That does bring Canders back into 2nd place, and Popcat, well in the lead, 3.2 seconds ahead of Canders, maintaining that, keeping clean lines. That's what we like to see.
Yeah, it turned out
At
the
moment,
DRS just picked it right up.
Yeah, well, first of the medium runners, I think, going in, Popcat gets overtaken by Canders, who is on fresher mediums. What will Popcat go on to? Hards. So possibly a 2-stopper from Popcat this race.
Hey, you have the 2 Ferraris right here with Steve and
And Popcat being very aggressive on his tires, trying to catch up to his teammate Steve. That's another solid showing from the Ferraris, also running in second, third, which is where they finished last race. And, Popcat overtakes. Okay. Steve goes in. Could probably have gone another lap, but I guess started losing ground on other teams might have been the best move here. Steve does come back on medium, so it's like reverse strategy from Popcat. But Kander's now with a 5.2 second gap on Popcat. So really strong showing by Aston Martin today. So, 8 laps in, Kander's from Popcat, the gap is slightly increasing. Bingo is in third place, trying to catch up to Popcat. I think that gap is maintained at just around 1 second, slightly more. Maldonado is now fourth, running soft tires, so probably going to drop down the order when he has to come change those tires earlier than anyone else. Albano 5th, Dadley 6th, Vander Buysen 7th, Steve 8th, Ray 9th, Utah 10th, Gordon Jr. 11th, Miller, Wong, Tapalo, Dakari, Andrews, Venegas, Tallstyle, and Bergen to close out. And the gap between Kenders and Popcat is around 5 seconds now. Let's look at interesting fights that we could find along there. We have Ray, Gordon, and Maldonado fighting for 8th, 9th, and 10th at the moment. Very close. Gordon Jr. does have more damage than the others. Might want to be careful because any more, I would consider that potential for a repair pit stop, which you do not want to have. But Vander Buysen goes into the pits, lets a few other cars back. Should come back at around Miller, right next to Miller, or right behind Miller, actually. Pretty fast pit stops in the Sim League.
Yeah, they don't waste any time on pit road.
Yeah, and right away we have Wong and Vander Buysen fighting for what is 11th place at the moment. But Topalo is just ahead of them, and he's on soft tires, so he will have to pit again for sure. As some of the leaders go into the pits for their second pit stop. Kanders goes in, is now 3.3 seconds back of Popcat, who is still running those hards. Kanders is on softs again, so that's a soft, hard, soft strategy. So far. Albono's third. Bingo has dropped to 6th place after his pit stop. Steve is challenging him, though. I'll get slapped by Popcat.
The tire strategy here, I mean, there's not really a whole lot of difference between soft to hards. I mean, hards, you're sitting at 6 to 9 laps.
It does seem that it's around 1 to 2 lap difference.
Yeah.
Between, I would say the mediums are about 1 lap longer than softs, and the hards are maybe a lap to 2 lap longer. So you can really play with aggressive strategies in Spain. Kanders overtakes Popcat for the lead, and Popcat uses a whole bunch of his turbo to try and stick to him, but honestly, Kanders is in great shape today.
Yeah, Kanders, I mean, definitely set up here to get to the end here and be in the running to take this check play.
Yeah, Kanders one of 3 drivers in Formula 2 to yet score a point. So this is really solid from them. As we see Popcat going into the pits, which is going to only increase Kanders' lead on him.
Yeah, really, the singular thing right now, it looks like standing in Kanders' way is going to be any lap traffic and hopefully not causing too much damage.
Yeah, I mean, in general, I think for this sim, when we talk about lap traffic, it's really just the potential damage fighting.
Yep, exactly.
It's less so about slowing down and being behind them, because everyone goes decently fast. The Popcat on those fresh tires, trying to close the gap, but it's about 8.2, 8.4 at the moment. Increasing, actually. So Kanders is really going all out on those softs.
And just recently here, Albano ended up taking a fast lap time. 31.13.
And Albano is running in fourth, so that's a very strong fast lap for point contention. Albano also only has 1 point to his name this season in Singapore, finished 10th. So this is going to be some solid points for Albano. The big winner actually today so far in terms of points would be Popcat getting some solid points from there. Will definitely climb up the standings. But also someone like Steve, who's already in the lead of the championship, tied with Dadley. Dadley is just on the verge of the top 10. Like he's running in 10th at the moment. But Popcat should do really well as he now takes the lead. We do have a bit of a race on our hands at this point.
We do. I saw Popcat there just run Canders into the grass a little bit, and that helped.
And Bingo as well is doing pretty well for himself, all things considered, for the overall championship. But let's focus on Canders and Popcats, who are running both medium tires. Popcats is, I think, a couple laps fresher. Pushed really hard, though, to try and catch.
And Canders returns the favor.
And this is bumper cars between those two at this point. Canders does have some advantage, but that Ferrari speed is pretty good.
Yeah, they are right now, I believe, the only constructor at 6 for speed. So we'll see how that aids in the Formula 1 level as well.
That lap car of Uta helping his teammate by forcing Popcat wide, building the gap for Canders, and puts another lap car between himself and Popcat in Topalo. Alpine, who had 2 drivers in the top 10 in qualifying, has now one in running in 10th and one running in 12th. So maybe a bit better qualifying than race pace on their side. And Dadley coming back into third. Gonna be a very good push for him. With 4 laps left, can those mediums last? I don't know. They seem pretty worn.
Yeah,
might lose a few spots to fresher tires behind them.
Yeah, Maldonado's gonna have to pit here if they're gonna try and do anything in the last part of the race.
And Bingo overtakes Maldonado. There we go. Dadley goes into the pits. Albano and Maldonado and Bingo fighting for what is third place at the moment, as Bingo uses a bit of DRS there to get past. Popcat did go back into the pits, by the way, and is now on softs for the last push. Question is, will Canders have to go in? And if he does, when does he go? As 2 lapped cars are now slowing Canders down, bringing that gap down to 8 seconds instead of 9.2 seconds. Maldonado does go into the pits at the bottom of the screen. Puts Bingo in a decent spot for that third place. As Canders keeps going on, having fought the 2 lapped cars, still fighting a lapped car.
I mean, these lapped cars aren't giving him much space.
Nope. The blue flags mean nothing in the sim, as both lap cars overtake him, and now his lead is down to 5.3 seconds with about 1.5 laps to go. I think we'll see Canders maybe limp to the end on those tires. Honestly, with the race he's put up, it'd be a shame for him to lose that at the very end.
It really would, yeah. We'll see how these last corners here go. You see the smoke coming from the rear of his car. He knows it's getting to the end as around the last lap.
Yeah, at this point, I feel that he's given up on the lapped cars. He's just trying to nurse this car home. Popcat bringing it down to 4.12 seconds, 3.75 seconds. I think Popcat is running out of track, so there's only half lap left, and it's going by fast as Canders reaches onto the last few corners. Popcat is closing, but just not enough. Little too late. Another lap, and Canders would probably have been sweating even more. But congratulations to Canders for Winning, Popcat second place, as we see Bingo take third, Albano fourth. Dadley crosses the line into fifth, Maldonado sixth, Steve seventh, eighth for Van der Buysen, who is alongside Lap Traffic. Ray comes in to finish his race ninth, and Gordon Jr. none challenged into 10th. So that's your top 10.
So while you take care of those shots, I will go down the finishing order here. So we have Canders winning their first race of the year and third winner now here in 3 races for Formula 2 with Aston Martin, which is an awesome finish for them. Popcat second, Bingo third, Albano and Dadley in the pair of Hendricks Motorsports cars there in 4th and 5th. Maldonado, Steve, Van der Buysen finished 6th through 8th with the teammate there of Ray in the VW IBM Racing getting dual points there in 9th, and Gordon Jr. finishing out in the top 10 with Hot Wheels Racing.
Yeah. Fastest lap going to Albano for Hendrick Motorsports in the 31.13. Yeah, you can scroll down.
In 11th, we have Miller, also of Hot Wheels Racing, they're finishing back in 10th and 11th. Wong, Utah, and Andrews, 12th and 14th. Andrews' teammate Tapalo, they're in 15th. Dakari, Toth, in 16th and 17th with Molt Adler Racing. Venice in 18th, Bergen in 19th, and Sile there in 20th, bringing up the back of the pack.
Yeah, that's been a rough day in the office for Sile.
Definitely a rough day and absolutely predictable, as no skill is put into focus.
But congratulations to Dalton Canders from Aston Martin. Really solid showing for both Ferraris, 2nd and 7th. Hendrick Motorsports continues a strong early season with a 4th and 5th place. And Volkswagen IBM Racing getting an 8th and a 9th place with some solid points. We scroll back down the standings real quick, just to finish up. Some rough day at the office for Alpine, Mol Adra, Maple Stroop. Not getting any cars in the points this race. It's back to the drawing board for race 4 later this week.
Yeah, actually tomorrow. So everybody's going to be right back on the track tomorrow, which will be a quick turnaround. But with a different skill set on the docket, so it'll be fun.
Definitely interesting.
We all set for some F1 racing?
I think we can set for F1. I think you might need to do just one change for F1 as well.
Gotta add double there.
Yeah, looking at the standings after two races, Jeff Lewis of Hendrick Motorsports leads the championship with 29 points, followed by Fierce Chicken of Maple Stroop, 26 points, tied with Jimmy Raikkonen, also 26 points. Aaron Oshag Hennessy, Ferrari, 18 points, tied with Pierre Oud, also 18 points. Down the standings some more, we have Bobby Brooks, 6th place, 15 points. Puff Carpentier, 7th. Hot Wheels Racing with 12 points. Ferrari Strategy, 10 points in 8th place. 9th, Sebastian Schettel. 10th, Roger Dietrich. So some, a close championship, but we do have a leader at the moment who has not won a race. The race winners so far are in 2nd and 3rd place. Race winners have won with the fastest lap of their respective races. But so far, the name of the game is consistency, and Jeff Lewis is in the lead because of that. 2-point finishes races. Only, I think, 3 other drivers have done it. So Pierre Houd has done it. Michael Selich in 11th place in the standings has done it. And Paul Houd as well, 13th in the standings, has done it. So definitely some, expecting some shakeups soon with this race.
Absolutely agree with that. And with that, I think we are going to get rolling into qualifying, which everybody a reminder, Formula 1, 34 laps, 2-lap qualifying. Biggest difference here is, like we prefaced in the beginning of the broadcast, was that F1 is going to be a 25% rain possibility. So, if we start seeing the track get a little wet, then they will have the option to switch to inters or to wets. So it's going to be something that we really haven't seen yet in the league. So here it goes.
Yeah, let's make those cars run. Well, the drivers are on full wets. We'll see how that goes. And they're off. The time is ticking, and we shall see who gets the better of this wet Spain. Very atypical weather in this region. Usually it's very dry races in actual Formula 1. But yeah.
And our standard reminder, obviously, is going to be that, remember, there are 2 laps.
Yeah. Well, sun is coming soon, so the track is going to be drying during this. So, I mean, it's irrelevant for qualifying, but for the race it might be interesting to see changing conditions. After 1 lap, Brooks leads from Chicken from Hennessy. Again, it means nothing until you actually reach the end of the second lap, which they are doing right now. And so far, as the drivers go through, I mean, you see some familiar names up top, as Bobby Brooks for Ferrari takes the pole position, followed by Chicken, last race's winner, in second, and Hennessy, who finished second in the previous race, is in third. Raikkonen, who won the first race, is in fourth. Ferrari's strategy, solid as well in the championship, is fifth. Solid showing by both Moladros, who are both in the top 10 this race.
Yeah, it's nice to see them pop up there in the top 10 for qualifying. Hopefully we can hold on to it into the race.
Yeah. Further down, rough day at the office for Randall Devil, who is joining his new team. And it starts from the back of the grid. The other new comer to F1, I should say, is Ricky Bobby, who qualifies 11th in his first showing for Mercedes. Half a second ahead of his teammate Sebastian Vettel.
Yeah, seeing a few teams down here, you lean a little bit more. Maybe it's car, maybe it's driver. And most likely, it's going to be a mixture of both.
I would say if you see 2 cars that are the 2 cars that are fairly close but are behind the rest, that's probably the car.
Yep.
Alpine and Hot Wheels and Volkswagen, maybe not their type of track.
Yeah, I mean the thing that people, some people probably don't realize is the fact that the tracks are different. So if you have more speed versus more acceleration going into a certain track, certain tracks are going to be built differently and they're going to use the attributes differently. So it's not just standard. Somebody has high speed, so they're gonna be in the running every single time. It's one of the things that's definitely going to change from race to race.
Yeah.
In saying that, I think we are ready to go here for our Formula 1 race.
Yeah, I think we are ready to go. I think, get those engines started and let's get racing. Lights are out and we're off.
That start there for Brooks, even though they came back, all 3 races that leader sort of had a little bit of a slow start coming off the blocks.
Yeah, and all 3 of them, the driver in the lead has pulled up a bit of a gap to the others. But yeah, Brooks from Chicken from Hennessy, so the top 3 hasn't changed. We see a very aggressive Mol Adra now, as both Carvalho and De La Torre are in the mix. As I say that, they fall down. There is a big cluster for that fight for 3rd place at the moment, or 4th place, as the cars start to stretch out. Both Mercedes fighting the Mol Adras, and Ferrari strategy as well, right there in the mix. That's gonna give a lot of damage to some of those drivers there. You really want to get out of the melee as soon as possible. And meanwhile, in the lead, Furious Chicken and Bobby Brooks are fighting it out, which lets Hennessy close the gap. So now it's really a 2 Ferrari and a 1 Maple Stroop in the front. Meanwhile, there's a battle for 4th place between is it Bas Carvalho and Raikkonen.
You can just tell a lot of these cars from about 4th to 12th, some of the damage there throughout the entire.
And now we see a couple drivers already go into the pits. Ferrari Strategy and Michael Selig are in the pits now. As I said, they stayed in the pack for too long and just took a whole bunch of damage there.
Yep.
And something you don't want to do ahead of time. But yeah, the Hood brothers are now running in 8th and 9th. Aston Martin seems to... But the Aston Martin seem to perform differently, like in qualifying, but they have very similar performance when it comes to the race itself.
Yep.
As Brooks puts on the turbos and just gets a decent gap built from Chicken. Hennessy's still right behind Chicken as well. Carvalho closing the gap to Hennessy on those mediums as I say that, and Hennessy goes into the pits for some fresh rubber. The soft drivers are going in this lap or next.
So from the viewers who are watching, obviously you can see cloud, sun coming soon and everything like that. Well, for those who haven't really watched and haven't seen that weather change, when you look at the upper right of the screen, you can see where the weather indicator is. And that arrow's essentially indicating that it's going, to yellow, which would be sun, to blue, which would be rain. So you keep an eye on that throughout this race, and you see those changes pretty rapidly. I mean, I would say that the weather can change within a lap. And if it starts getting into rain, you will see cars starting to go in for inners.
I mean, it can give us potentially a chaotic race as we see that arrow, inch towards.
It's something a lot of
it's right before the rain. This is and it goes back up towards sun. This is a very it's teasing us.
It is, because the thing is that it's not human control in terms of when you're coming into the pits and when you're
not.
As
we see some of the leaders go into the pits, as Brooks comes out of the pits right behind his teammate. Both of them are running softs now. Chicken is also running softs, but is further back down, followed by Carvalho and Strategy, who are running medium tires at this point. The Ferraris have built quite a bit of a gap to the rest of the field at the moment. As Carvalho and Chicken are fighting for 3rd place, but clip on the grass and lets Raikkonen come right back into the race for that position. A little bump here and there. Strategy and Hood are fighting for what is 6th place at the moment. They've taken a bit of damage. I wouldn't be surprised seeing them go into the pits early if they continue doing that. But yeah, Ferrari is doing a solid job, up front. Quickly running down the order: Brooks, Hennessy, Chicken, Carvalho, Raikkonen, Strategy, Pierre Hood, De La Torre, Paul Hood, Bobby are your top 10. Following that is Ree, Shuttle, Jobin, Bass, D Streak, Burkhardt, Selig, Lewis, Carpentier, and Devil. as weather is at maximum sunniness. Current fastest lap is from Furious Chicken, who put up 30.73. So already faster than the F2 cars. Which the gap is going to be more apparent on proper circuits compared to street circuits.
Yep, absolutely.
Brooks is approaching. Who is that? Carpentier. So we already have one lapped car in Devil. Carpentier might be the second. Hennessy did take his second pit stop, going on fresh hards, and has dropped down to fifth. Chicken goes into the pits again, earlier than expected, which is going to give Brooks a massive gap. If those other drivers are going into the pits already. And Chicken comes back right behind Hennessy, so closing the gap to Hennessy. Hennessy trying to catch up and overtaking it. Carvalho ran the outside and tries to go for Raikkonen. Raikkonen running in second, our first ever F1 race winner back in Singapore. Being chased down by Hennessy. As Brooks comes out of the pits, also on hards. Ferrari doing a very, mirroring with the tires on the first pit, and then just same strategy for the rest of the way, it seems.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think, what will pull Brooks back, because he's gonna keep pulling away slowly. Is if he gets caught starting a new lap as the weather starts to change. So far we're running sunny, but those Ferraris are really looking tough this race.
Yeah. And the weather is solid sunny at the moment, as expected in Spain. But it's there's some fighting here and there, like from Raikkonen it's Raikkonen, De La Torre. Where are we at? Hood, Strategy, Carvalho. They're all in that group of 4th to 8th at the moment, I want to say, where any one of them just clips the grass and the others will just zoom right past. As I say, that Strategy goes into the pits. Let's look at close gaps around the track. Carvalho is closing in on Hood, I think. As I say, that the gap goes over a second, so Shettle is the next one that is close to somewhat ahead. 9th place getting close to 8th place. If you want to follow that a little bit. Those two are really going at it. Both of them using their DRS, I think. Although, yep. Paul Hood using that bit of DRS there, Bud goes into the pits. That's the problem as well, is like when people are running out of order and different strategies, it's very hard to figure out who's fighting whom on the track at what point. But yeah. Chicken pits again from the mediums. Will drop back down. Chicken is going with some very early pits, I'm finding, in this race.
Yeah, I mean, you don't, all the way down at 8th, 7th, you don't see somebody, till about 7th, you see somebody using softs.
Yeah. I mean, Spain has always been known as a track that was always rough on the tires as well, like in real life. So I'm not too surprised at the moment with the way things are going, where, we're halfway through the race and some drivers have 3 pits. Might be something to consider for the future, because that's a tad high. But yeah, I mean, we're in for like a 5-stopper by some drivers and maybe a 6-stopper by others at this rate.
Yeah, yep, absolutely.
But that's on us. We have to be better with that. But we'll have it figured out for at least for season 2, hopefully. This is the first time we're running these circuits as well, and first season we're doing a broadcast together. Lots of firsts, you know,
Lots
in the
of
season one.
firsts. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, Brooks has a 7-second gap over Chicken. Chicken is being followed fairly closely by Raikkonen for that second, third place. Hennessy did pit again on mediums, and Brooks is now in the pits, actually, I saw. So possibly Chicken able to take the lead, but I think Brooks came out right in front of him. And if we look at Chicken's tires real quick, yeah, they're almost at half health, half life, you know, of those tires before he goes into the pits, whereas Brooks is on absolutely fresh tires, again, in the lead. So that gap is just gonna increase again. Do see Raikkonen going into the pits, and we actually have all three of our top three on the same screen when they're on the straight. As you know, some of the drivers up front are trying to get past some lapped cars. Selich there, not having the best day. Had a good top 10 qualifying, but it's just not going well in the race.
Yeah, Selleck got caught up really early on that middle group, and ever since really hasn't been able to climb back up since that.
Yeah, as we see Burkhardt drift there at the entrance of what is the third corner, I want to say. Clips, even though he's a lapped car, always good to see what people further down the road are also doing. But, you know, Chicken is being caught up by Hennessy there for that second place. Bit of turbo there used by Hennessy as it goes round the inside at turn 3 into turn 4 and takes the second place. Ferrari back in the top 2 for both cars. Chicken seems to be struggling a bit more with the tires at this point. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Chicken go into the pits now for their fourth stop. As I say that, like clockwork, I'm starting to understand this game, guys. But Brooks down in the lead has like 3 lapped cars in front of him. It's gonna be interesting to see how he gets past them all. On the back straight, gets one of them. Can he get one at that corner? No. Now into the slower part of the circuit. Almost bumps. Well, convenient. One of them goes into the pits, and the turbo will not help him get past the other one. And now it's up to Hennessy that's messing around with, was it Paul Hood there? Paul Hood already being lapped, and Paul Hood is in 11th place. Just to give you the pace of the Brooks and lead has at least everyone outside the top 10 lapped. That's not something we were expecting this early in the season, I would say.
So, here we go. We are going to see some rain here. And as you can see, we just have some drivers switching over to wets.
Yeah, straight to wets as well. And how will that affect the standings? Because if everyone's going in for the wets, where a lot of gaps might have closed if you just pass the pits, for example, and everyone's going in, you're still on dries.
Exactly.
We see Schedel and Carpentier, for example, who are just getting to the pits now, right? They're going to be struggling for grip and will drop spots. But more rain forecasted, so we might be here for a wet finish. The weather was mixed and stayed sunny for a few laps more, but we'll see what happens. There's still 7 laps. We could always get back to dry conditions, and then it's a mix-up all over again. But now with everyone swapping to wet tires, it kind of stabilizes where the field is as well.
Yep. Yeah, because everybody came into pit there. And yeah, the
Yeah.
rain looks like it will taper off here in the lap a little bit. And we'll see if it goes back to a dry condition.
Yeah. So Brooks from Hennessy, from Raikkonen, from Chicken, from Della Torre, Carvalho, Piaud, Strategy, Shuttle, and Bass is your top 10 at the moment after all those wet tires got put on. But we're getting to light rain, maybe enough to go on to dry tires now. Maybe let's follow. Let's be on the lookout for people going into the pits. I'm looking at the mini map, and there's no drivers going into the pits yet.
And we just got the signal there to expect some heavy rain.
Drivers are gonna tough it out. Maybe go around the wet spots of the track to keep those wet tires going. But there comes the rain again. Now, with that being so low, it doesn't really affect the drivers as much as a full wet race with the inclement weather attribute.
Say that one more time.
I was saying that this does not affect the driver's abilities as much as a full wet race from the beginning.
Correct. Yep. Yeah. So the attributes themselves will remain. So what's going to be interesting here is the rain stopping, and now let's see if any of these drivers try and take an opportunity to change those tires.
Yep. I mean, we are keeping an eye out on the pit entrance on the mini-map. So far, no one seems to want to go in. Might just be the track is still pretty wet, so any dry tire is not gonna affect it that much. And we've got another announcement of heavy rain, so I don't think they'll be changing for the rest of the race.
Correct. Yeah, I could see this now ending on wets.
But Raikkonen was actually getting close to Hennessy there for second place for a bit, was under a second at one point. Gap's back up to 1.5 now, 1.7 even. Della Torre is very close to Carvalho as actually Della Torre overtakes them. Mol Adra, very solid race showing after a couple tough races for them. Chicken running his own race in fourth. And we have Strategy going into the pits for fresh wets. Strategy has probably cooked his tires a bit more than everyone else with his 6th pit stop. But yeah, Hennessy is being cut up by Raikkonen on some areas, and then the turbo comes in and the Ferrari just jets out. Yeah, we see drivers go in for a fresh set of wet tires. Don't know if that's the best choice at this point.
Yeah, at this point I would probably just stick it out.
Yeah, I think it's some bad decision at this point. Unless they really fell off a cliff. At this point, I don't know. Maybe intermediates would have also done the trick. If this game has intermediates, I don't know.
They do. Yep, they actually do exist.
Both Hennessy and Raikkonen hit the same patch of grass. I was about to say opportunity for Raikkonen, but yeah. But Bobby Brooks wins the race for Ferrari as Hennessy rounds out the last corner. And yeah, 1-2 for Ferrari, followed by Raikkonen in 3rd place. Purist Chicken finishes 4th, and both Maladras, Della Torre in front of Carvalho for 5th and 6th. Yeah, Hood is a lapped car already, by the way. So Brooks overtook all the way up to 7th place. But yeah, Hood running out the last slow area of the track, about to cross nowish, last little bit. Yeah, Hood 7th. And yeah, the rest, Shuttle is not going to make it before the end of the timer, I think. Or he might just make it. 3, 2, 1. He barely makes it, but there you go.
All right, now I will go down this way to your thing as well for the Formula One race. Ferrari there at the top, Brooks taking the win, Hennessy in second, Raikkonen rounding out the top three on the podium. Nice race for both Ferrari and McLaren to get there on the podium. Chicken in fourth, De La Torre and Carvalho in fifth and sixth with Moadra. Getting a nice finish there for them. It's nice to see them getting some points. Pierre Hood, Shuttle, Strategy, and Bass round out the top 10.
Yep, with a fastest lap going to Fierce Chicken of Maple Troop, 30.73 early in the race. You can scroll down.
We have Ree coming across the line in 11th, Paul Hood in 12th, Bobby in 13th, Job in 14th, Selig, as we talked about in the race, falling down to 15th, solid qualifying, but just getting stuck there in the middle of the pack. Burkhardt in 16th, Dice Truth in 17th, 18th is Louis Carpentier in 19th, and Devil bringing it up in the rear there with their first race with Alpina.
Yeah. I mean, I think the big disappointment of the day is Lewis. You know, our championship leader, only 18th this race.
Yeah, we came in talking, about the consistency there with Lewis, and something starting in the rear is never going to be easy, and so doing so obviously brought them a little bit more between damage, most likely at the start of that race. Probably put them behind a little bit.
Yeah, and I am trying to do some quick maths here. Jimmy Raikkonen would be at 41 points after this race. Trying to figure out where the other drivers are. Bobby Brooks, our winner, would be at 40 points after this race, and Aaron O'Shea Hennessy would be at 36 points. So, and Fierce Chicken would finish fourth, we said. Fourth is 11 points plus one bonus. That would put Fierce Chicken at 38 points. So, if my math is correct, Jimmy Raikkonen leads the championship by 1 point over... by 3 points over Bobby Brooks. Over Fierce Chicken, and O'Shea Hennessy would be still in fourth. Right. Just real quick maths.
We'll make sure we get those updated here. I'll get those updated.
Yeah. But in terms of points today, we have a couple drivers getting their first points. Xenia De La Torre and Edward Bass getting their first points.
Yeah, so now tomorrow we're going to head to Mexico with the consistency strength. So we're going to see, another change up here where we haven't seen anything with the consistency yet. So that'll be fun to see. We'll run the weather, check the weather, see what that's going to be like here in a few minutes. But for this evening, it's a good race.
Yep. And tomorrow it'll be, I think, at 8:30 Central. Back to our regular time.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. Cool.
7:30 Central.
7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern.
Correct. Yep. But I think that's all we got here. So about time to sign off, and drivers and constructor owners obviously, can tune in here as we roll the weather here in a few minutes.
Yep. And this has been us. Have a good one, guys.